A campaigner and activist about so many different issues. I've been speaking about disability rights and human rights in the Speakers Forum for over a decade, and I decided that I needed to get my messages out to more people, and so I created my art installations there. So do have a look at them. Do encourage everyone you can to come and have a look at the installations. One of them is called Invisible. That's that one. And it's called Invisible because disabled people are literally becoming invisible. We're either being left at home with no care, so we can't get out of our homes, or pushed into care homes where we've got even less of a voice and visibility. The cuts to education means that mainstream schools can no longer have disabled children included in mainstream education, so more and more disabled children are being pushed into special education where they're not seen, where they can be othered, where they can be forgotten. And when you don't see people around you as normal human beings, fellow human beings, it's easy for the government to other them, and more than that, to murder them. The second installation is about the numbers of disabled people who are dying as a result of the cuts in austerity. But it isn't just disabled people. It started with disabled people. At the center of the DPAC logo, because DPAC was formed in 2010 when this government came to power.
Mary Ellen, say what DPAC is.
Yeah, when this government came to power, a group of disabled people became very concerned about the austerity program, the cuts, the sanctions, the cuts to care, etc. And so we formed a group called Disabled People Against Cuts. And DPAC said, if you do this, if you continue with austerity and cuts, if you continue with your welfare reforms, people will die. We were told that you're scaremongering, you don't know what you're talking about, yeah, you're ignoramuses, etc., etc., and told to go away. In 2011, under a Freedom of Information request, the government was asked, so we say people are dying, you say they're not, we're asking you, how many people have actually died? You've got a program of saying to people, of assessing people, saying they're fit for work, taking away their benefits, and leaving them with nothing. How many of those people, within 6 weeks of that decision of fit for work, how many of them are dead? Not 6 weeks in a day, not 6 months, just 6 weeks. Within 6 weeks, how many of them have died? And they came back with a figure for 10 months of 2011. And that figure is seared into my brain. I want to see, does anyone have an idea of how many people the government actually admitted died that year? Want to try a guess? Hazard a guess? 10,600. 10,600. When one extra death is unacceptable, when there's 10,600, when the government is admitting to 10,600 disabled people murdered in plain sight, and it is nothing but plain murder. When you say to someone, you do this and it will result in someone dying, and you still go ahead and do it, that is calculated, cold murder, nothing else but murder. And so 10,600, and when 10,600 is the figure the government is admitting to, and it's not reported on the BBC, the Guardian, the Telegraph, the Times, the Daily Mail, anyone, not one single one of them, we have a serious problem. We've got eugenics, we've got murder, we've got a government with a cold-blooded depopulation agenda, and they've started with disabled people. And the press and the public are not informed, or informed but don't care. Something is seriously wrong. And when you accept the murder, the state-sanctioned murder of a group of people, you allow them to continue into all the other groups. And at the heart of the DPAC logo is a black triangle. That's the black triangle that the Nazis used on disabled people. And the gas chambers that they used against the Jews, they practiced and honed it on disabled people. They started with their agenda on disabled people. Then they came for the Romani, then they came for the Jews, then they came for everyone else. Same as this government is doing. So when they started, it was disabled. Then they brought in the universal credit. Under universal credit, they were able to target everyone else. The majority of people on universal credit are people in work, not disabled, but they're the ones that are suffering. And then COVID came along. And under COVID, they were able to wipe out so many more people. And so that we as a people, we need to realize that our government is not just not telling us the truth and hiding the truth and telling us lies, but actually has this huge depopulation agenda. And if not now, soon, all of us will be targeted by it. So all of us need to stand up in unity, and all of us are being robbed. When someone is denied their benefits, it's not just that person that's being denied. When someone is denied their pension, when a child is left hungry and malnourished, it's not just them that are being targeted and robbed, but all of us. Past generations, present generations, and future generations, because our social security system is supposed to provide a safety net for all of us. And this government is in breach of contract when it denies any single one of us. That contract is simple. We pay in, you pay out. You pay out for our health service, not to privatize it, not to give it to your friends, but for all of us, including future generations. And the same with our social security system. They've changed words. They're very clever with their words. They've changed the social security system to the Department of Work and Pensions to take away, to get us used to the fact that there is no social security. And it's our social security. And it's our right. And they are in breach of contract. This country runs on contract law. We can take them to court. We can sue them for breach of contract. But enough of us have to do so. DPAC is fighting them through the courts, and we have won again and again. The Good Law Project is fighting them through the courts, and we have won again and again. Extinction Rebellion has fought them again and again through the courts. Just Stop Oil. There's so many groups fighting the good fight. But we need everybody on board. Because when it's only a handful of people standing up, and when I say handful, it could be thousands of us even that are standing up, but those thousands are still a small proportion of the number of people in this country. Every single one of us is affected when they destroy our NHS. But when you go to an NHS march, there's only a few thousand. It should be millions. It should be every single one of us. But the thing is, we are ignorant. The majority of people are ignorant and kept ignorant by this government. So look up the great NHS heist. It's a GP, an NHS GP, who's discovered that his clients, his patients, he wasn't able to prescribe things he wanted to prescribe. He wasn't able to refer them for the referrals they deserved and needed. And he started to look into what's going on. And he discovered this whole sorry, I struggle with my words sometimes. Plethora of actions that this government and previous governments, it started under Maggie Thatcher, of how to dismantle and get rid of our NHS and put it into the private hands. Because when the NHS was started, the Tories fought it tooth and nail. They did not want it to happen. And ever since then, they have tried to find ways of actually getting rid of it and putting it back to privatization, to put into a private system where there's a two-tier system. If you don't have the money, you die. If you can't be pathetic enough to get somebody's sponsorship to get the operation or treatment or whatever that you need, you can starve and die. And the normalization of having to have food banks, of having to fundraise to have NHS treatments that should be your right. The normalization of saying, oh, immigrants, they don't need to have our NHS. No, our NHS was created to be free for all at the point of thing, and no question of what's your passport, what's your visa, what's your age, what's your color, what's your condition. Under the privatization, they'll only want to treat the easiest to treat conditions. Anything else will just be left. So it's a fight that we all need to unite. I've created those 2 installations. This is my 3rd installation. I made it to go to COP26 and to say that the climate crisis is just one aspect of what is happening. And every crisis is being driven and created and profited from by the same handful of people. And if that same handful of people depend on divide to control, divide to exploit, divide to enslave, divide to destroy, to create their wars, our response has to be unity. They trade in hate and distrust and fear. We need to trade in love and connection and trust. And when we can stand together and remember that we are the many, they are the few, then we have a chance of changing it all. As long as we just leave it in their hands, we will never solve anything or change anything. But each of us can be the change that only we can be. I can speak to whoever I manage to get to speak to, but I can never speak to the people you will speak to. And you in turn will never speak to the people that they will speak to. So remembering how powerful and important our voices are, and use them, use our voices, use our actions in every way we can, every platform that we can manage to get hold of, whether it's having a coffee morning with our friends, whether it's in our church, whether it's sitting on a bus stop and sitting on the tube, wherever you are. Use your voice. We don't have time to be shy. We don't have time for the social norms of, oh, you can't, that's it. It's not the done thing. It's not British, you can't do that. No, we have to step out of our comfort zones and do what needs to be done to be able to raise the alarm, raise the awareness that we need before we can change everything. So thank you so much for listening. And do please come and have a look at my installations. Join DPAC, join Extinction Rebellion, join Jubilee for Climate, join Black Lives Matter, join Good Law Project. Find the people telling the truth, Double Down News, The Canary, The New Internationalist. There are people out there telling the truth. The mainstream media is dealing in lies and misinformation or not telling us what's happening. We must find the truth and become the truth sharers and defend the truth sharers. So defend Julian Assange's right to not be extradited, because with him we lose the right to know the truth and tell the truth. Thank you. Thank you for having me on here. Oh, one last thing. I'm singing on the Mandala Stage at 8 on Sunday, and this evening on Lost Horizons sometime after 6:30. So if you can come up to Lost Horizons or to Mandala, I'd love to sing for you as well. Thank you.